Hello students, this is our part 2 session for the topic atoms. So as you know that in the previous class I was given you some brief introduction regarding this chapter atoms and basic atomic models regarding the one of the experiment conducted by Ernst Rutherford, that is alpha particle scattering experiment. So anyhow, with the help of all that basic information, so now we shall go to the further aspect of this topic atoms. So with the help of all those basic models, so now we shall go for the further concept of this chapter. So already as you know that in this chapter we are going to study about only two atomic models. So one is Rutherford's atomic model and another one is nothing but Bohr's atomic model. In detail we are going to study here. So in detail we are going to study these two theories proposed by the two different physicists by name Ernst Rutherford as well as Niels Bohr. So as the Rutherford's theory is concerned, you know that already. So Rutherford conducted one experiment known as alpha particle scattering experiment, and that experimental arrangement I have already shown you in my previous class, but anyhow once again you can have some quick glance on that. So that alpha particle scattering experiment was actually done by the person Geiger and Mersenne by the suggestion of Ernst Rutherford. And another one important part of this concept is in your theory examination. In your theory examination they have asked that draw a Geiger and Mersenne experimental arrangement of alpha particle scattering experiment. For 3 marks they have asked this experimental arrangement figure once in the examination. So exam point of view, just you go through this experimental arrangement. So once again for the further explanation of this Rutherford's atomic theory, we require the experimental arrangement here. Just I have highlighted, even though in my previous class I have given you a detailed diagram of this, but now also you can have a just glance here. So what is that? The Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment. So actually it is also called as Geiger's Mersenne alpha particle scattering experiment. So they have conducted this experiment in the year 1911. In the year 1911, they have started the study of the structure of atom and they did this experiment. This experiment consisting of one lead cavity. Inside that lead cavity, source is placed. What type of source means? I told you a bismuth source is placed. And this source is purely an emitter of alpha particle. So alpha particle emitter means, what is the charge of such alpha particle means? The charge of alpha particle is plus 2e. So they consisting 2 protons here. 2 protons are there in the alpha particle, and another one thing, so this 2 plus 2e is similar to it is the same as the charge of helium nucleus also. Helium nucleus also containing the plus 2e as the charge of its nucleus. So therefore we say indirectly alpha particles are nothing but helium nucleus particle. So such alpha particles are made pass through the lead slit in order to make a narrow beam of alpha particle, and that alpha particles are having the energy, are associated with the energy 5.5 MeV when they are incident on a gold foil. So this whatever the line I have drawn here, so this line indicates here it is a gold foil actually. So a gold foil, and the thickness of this gold foil was 2.1 into 10 power minus 7 meter. Such a very thin gold foil was maintained in this experiment, and once these alpha particles of energy 5.5 MeV, when they incident on the gold foil, they get deviated into different directions. So this is actually the incident alpha particle. Once they get incident on this gold foil, so once they approach us towards the gold foil, say like this, some of the alpha particles are deviated. This is the actual path of an alpha particle. This is a deviated path. So and also I was telling about the scattering angle theta. So what is this scattering angle theta means? It is the angle of deviation produced by the alpha particle from their initial direction. That is called as scattering angle. Actually alpha particles are coming like this. So when they approach us towards a gold foil, so they get scattered into different direction. So once if you take their deviation, that is nothing but to the direction where they get scattered from the initial direction, that angle we call it as theta, and the theta is called as scattering angle. Then further for a different angle of scattering angle theta, they have counted the number of alpha particles scattered throughout the all direction. Because how that is possible means, this is possible with the help of detector, and this detector has got a provision to move along like this. Okay, it has a circular scale, we can move this one in the circular scale also. And this detector is provided with what? A microscope, and this microscope is help us to count the number of alpha particles scattered corresponding to the particular scattering angle theta. This is very important. This microscope provided, it is attached with a detector, and this detector, in front of detector there is a zinc sulfide screen, and the function of this screen is to produce a bright flashes or scintillations on this, and this scintillations or bright flashes will be counted with the help of microscope, which is attached with the detector. For different angle of scattering, they have calculated the number of, they have found the number of scattered alpha particle. It means they counted the number of alpha particle scattered, and then they plotted a graph. The graph is actually, I will show right now. So this is an experimental arrangement, and this is the experiment what they are explaining here. So now, after conducting this experiment, now they have plotted a graph. This graph is very important, and the graph is based on their theoretical assumption. What was the assumption made by Rutherford? So Rutherford made that assumption. J.J. Thomson was said that positive charge of the atom is throughout the volume of atom, and electrons were just like a plums, that is, they have embedded on it just like a plum pudding. So if you take a complete one pudding sweet dish, on that if a garnish some dry fruits, they are nothing but the plums here, negatively charged electron, and that whole pudding is nothing but a positive charge. This was the assumption by J.J. Thomson. Hence J.J. Thomson failed to satisfy the experimental evidences of Rutherford. Hence it has got limitation. But the same thing only, now he is taking this drawback of J.J. Thomson. So in order to explain it in a proper way, with the help of alpha particle scattering experiment. And the Rutherford assumption was that atom has small positively charged nucleus at center, and most of the volume occupied by the atom will be an empty space. So based on this assumption, they plotted the graph, and even their assumption was true with the experimental results what they have obtained. So not only based on their theoretical assumption here, even this is experimentally true in this alpha particle scattering experiment. Now let us look at that nature of graph here. I am going to plot. Just you can take this graphical representation. Along y-axis they have taken number of scattered alpha particles, along y-axis, and they have taken along x-axis scattering angle theta. So initially they have taken almost 0 to 180 degree scattering angles along x-axis. So they plotted the graph this was the graph actually what the Geiger and Mersenne they found from their experiment, and they are explaining the results of alpha particle scattering experiment with the help of this graph. Once if you look at this graph, it's very clear that I can explain the results of this alpha scattering experiment or implications or conclusions. Okay, so what is the conclusion they found means? The first conclusion, many of the alpha particles are passed straight through the gold foil without any collision with the gold atoms. Once if you look at here, many number of alpha particles are passed straight. Almost their scattering angle will be negligibly small. Almost it is nothing but very small, close to that is a 0 only. So therefore, many of the alpha particles are passed straight without suffering any collision with the gold atoms. Okay, so what is this point indicates? Many of the alpha particles are passed straight means the atom consisting most of the gap. So most of the volume will be an empty space. Is it right or no? Then second conclusion, about 0.14% of incident alpha particles, about 0.14 incident alpha particles, they get deviated by more than 1 degree. Only about 0.14%, not complete 1% or 2% of alpha particle. About 0.14% of alpha particles are deviated by more than 1 degree. So more than deflection of alpha particle was only 0.14% here. That is the second one. And the third one, about 1 in 8,000 of incident alpha particles, about 1 in 8,000, 1 in 8,000 of alpha particles are deflected by more than 90 degree. So they are deflected by more than 90 degree. Then this result, the third, about 1 in 8,000 of alpha particles get scattered by more than 90 degree. So this result was surprised for the what? Rutherford, and it is exactly matching with his assumption, and then strongly he argued that to deflect an alpha particle by greater than 90 degree, or that is nothing but a to have a backward scattering, actually greater than 90 degree means the backward scattering will happen. So that I would like to explain in next concept, alpha particle trajectory, but now it is our intention to discuss about the what results of this experiment. So what is that final result? About 1 in 8,000 of alpha particles are deflected by more than 90 degree. Then Rutherford said that to deflect alpha particle by more than 90 degree, they must experience a strong repulsive force, and this strong repulsive force will be provided if greater part of the atom and maximum mass of the atom and all the positive charge of the atom, if they are situated at a center, if they are situated at the nucleus, then only this alpha particle, instead of penetrating into that, it get deviated back with the scattering angle greater than 90 degree. So thus Rutherford's theory is satisfyingly explaining about the existence of nucleus not throughout the atom, it is at very small part of an atom, that is at a center. Okay, so with this, our next concept is based on this result. Rutherford proposed his atomic model. Now we shall go through the atomic features, whatever he is providing in his model. Especially Rutherford's atomic model is not simply called as Rutherford's atomic model, it is called as Rutherford's nuclear atom model, because Rutherford got a credit because of this identifying nucleus in an atom exactly at the center. So therefore, now our next concept is Rutherford's nuclear atom model. Nuclear atom model. So here we are going to study some features pertaining to the Rutherford's atomic model. So what is the features you are going to study means? So according to Rutherford, he is proposing his model with the help of some conclusions, with the help of some theoretical points, what he had taken those from in his experiment, that is alpha particle scattering experiment. Okay, so listen here. So first point, atom has very small positively charged nucleus, and most of the mass of the atom and all the positive charge of the atom are located tightly at the center. So first point of Rutherford's nuclear atom model is atom has very small positively charged nucleus at center and maximum mass of the atom. So it means if you take this is an atom, so atom has small positively charged nucleus at center, most of the mass of the atom and all the positive charge is located at the center. So this is nothing but his first postulate. The second one, the dimension of the atom is more. So it means the dimension of the nucleus is negligibly small when I compare to the overall dimension of the atom. So it means the most of the atom occupied with or filled with an empty space. So this is the second point. Then third point, the positively charged nucleus is not alone. It is surrounded with the what? Some negatively charged particles called as electrons. And remember, the total charge on the nucleus is symmetrically balances with the total charge on the electron. So thereby atom will be existing in neutral state. So in a stable state it is existing. So this is the third conclusion. So then fourth conclusion here. So to these electrons are not in a state of rest. They are revolving in a certain stable orbits. And whatever the nucleus is surrounded by the electron, they are actually revolving electrons. And their charges are balances with the nucleus and hence neutral state. Listen here. So the fourth conclusion is these electrons which are not in state of rest, they are revolving. So to revolve these electron in a circular orbit, they must be required as necessary centripetal force. We know that for an object to keep on in a circular motion, it must be required a centripetal force. And who is the provider of centripetal force means electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and electron will be the provider of that centripetal force here. So that is nothing but the fourth point. Fourth point tells about the what? The necessary centripetal force required for the electron to revolve around the nucleus is provided by the what? Electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and electron. So this is nothing but the fourth conclusion. And the fifth conclusion, so he told theoretically that and even experimentally also that most of the atom is an empty space, nucleus dimension is negligibly small. How small it is? How much? Some suggested value he gave for the size of atom and the nucleus. So what is that? So look here, the size of the atom. So size of the atom. So before going to the atom, size of the nucleus. So Rutherford from his experiment he is suggesting that the size of the atom will be, size of atomic nucleus will be, the size of atomic nucleus is ranging from 10 power minus 15 meter to 10 to the power of minus 14 meter. So he is suggesting the size of the nucleus is about 10 power minus 15 meter to 10 power minus 14 meter. Here this 10 power minus 15 we call it as, this 10 power minus 15 meter we call it as 1 Fermi. So 1 Fermi. Generally in some of the books they are going to give that the dimension of the nucleus is equal to 1 Fermi. And then the dimension of the atom, he found that the dimension of the atom, that the dimension of this whole size of the atom is nearly 10 raised to minus 10 meter. It is nothing but 1 angstrom. Yes or no? So 10 raised to minus 10 meter or 1 angstrom. So this is nothing but the what? Size of the atom. And also further he is explaining that, so in case of alpha particle scattering experiment, he observed that many of the alpha particles are passed straight through the gold foil and only 0.14% get deviated by more than 1 degree. And remember, only 1 in 8,000 of alpha particle get deviated by more than 90 degree. So it means maybe it having large angle scattering. For this point, he is saying that then one common question will arise that, so how can alpha particle will pass straight though gold atom consisting some number of electrons? No. What is the effect of these atomic electrons on the alpha particle, or whether this alpha particle will affect the electron or not? Very simple thing here. Alpha particles are nothing but the what? They consisting 2 protons here. They are nothing but the what? Helium nucleus particle here. So when you compare with the mass of the electron, okay, when you compare the mass of the electron here, they should actually, when alpha particle enters into the atomic constituent of a gold foil, so alpha particle do not find any kind of, that is a what, actions on the electrons, because electrons has got very small masses compared to that of alpha particle. Why? Because alpha particle has got a mass around 6.645 into 10 power minus 27 kg. The mass of alpha particle is around 6.645 into 10 power minus 27 kg, and remember, and the mass of the electron is 9.1 into 10 power minus 31 kg. So here they are telling that the effect of electrons, that is the effect of this alpha particle on the atomic electron will be negligible. So this they have taken into the consideration while explaining their alpha particle scattering experiment as well as their atomic model here. Is it clear? So our next concept after Rutherford's nuclear atom model is so generally one common question will be arises, in case of alpha particle scattering experiment, how actually the alpha particles were traveled. So I told one point that only 1 in 8,000 of alpha particle get deflected by more than 90 degree. How? So is it possible to visualize it pictorially? Yeah, definitely it is possible, and the next concept is explained based on the what? The path followed by the alpha particles. So that path followed by the alpha particles during the alpha particle scattering experiment, and that we call as alpha particle trajectory. Our next concept is alpha particle trajectory. Alpha particle trajectory. So what is this alpha particle trajectory? Trajectory means, you know, it is a path followed by an projectile is called its a trajectory. So in the same way here, whatever the path in which alpha particle will move, it is called alpha particle trajectory. For this we require an experimental figure here that I would like to explain in my next class. Okay, thank you.